She's pretty well known, and can bid fairly low because you don't have to pay travel, and is willing to write for the opportunity to be considered to be that evaluator. If you use someone as your outside evaluator, and it comes time the project's funded and they're no longer available, or they're not, maybe they moved and they're not able to do it for the amount that they quoted you, you can go back and negotiate to use someone else. That happens frequently. People who do these evaluations might be involved in 17 or 18 proposals to the same call. They don't know on the front end how many of them are going to be funded. But what it does show is that you recognize, A, the value of an evaluator and the kind of credentials that you want an evaluator to have, what you perceive they're going to bring to your project, and what their role is going to be. So it's not, just because you use someone does not mean you're stuck with them. Maybe you find out 8 months down the road, right after you get funded, you've met somebody in the interim that has a better feel for what it is you're doing. It's very easy to go back and negotiate to change that evaluator. You have to provide some criteria and some a reason, a rationale, which is this person, the first person's not available anymore, or this person, you know, has more experience with the kinds of projects that I'm, you know, proposing, or that I am proposed to do. So you're networking, talking with people is a good way to do that. I think that several people here have used people from the MU and from other institutions in the area to help with that evaluation. The other thing that happens is that positions you, as you become funded in extramural funding and get a reputation for being able to do that, it positions you to be that evaluator for someone else's project as well. So that, you know, it becomes a growing part of that network that you're building professionally. You cannot contract with someone else in the Lincoln University faculty to be your outside evaluator. Someone who's on payroll here cannot be paid as a consultant. That's a conflict of interest, and that person cannot be objective. It's generally not acceptable to do that. So you want to look outside the Lincoln campus for those individuals. I know Dr. Digby has a number of contacts also for evaluators, or for people that do evaluation. A lot of her contacts are on the East Coast. They're some of them are extremely busy people, but they're very good evaluators.
I would also add to that, there are a large number of independent consulting groups, and if you're selecting someone out of the yellow pages, so to speak, you do want to do some follow-up and talk with people who've had experience with that consulting group, because consulting and evaluation is a very lucrative source of income for some groups, and you hear some fairly hairy stories sometimes.
That's true.
You have an unvetted, unknown group that you sign up for your project.
And you want your evaluator to have an affinity for a small institution. You want them to look at Lincoln from the perspective of where we were to what you accomplished, not to hold you up to an academic standard of a Research One institution, which we are not. So you want to make sure that that evaluator has an affinity for the kind of institution that we are. We're not less than, but we are different, and our focus is different than that of MIT or Harvard. So you want to make sure that when you're talking with your evaluator, that they have an understanding of what Lincoln University's mission is, and that they will come from that perspective. I tend to call that other perspective academic snobbery, and it happens a lot.
Well, thank you.
Met those people.
We have a class that's wanting to come in and get started. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.